live stream, the weekly live stream for the Doug.Show niche site project. Welcome. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. I think most likely it's working. I ran a lot of tests earlier. I've checked all my levels. I rebooted my machine and then I checked them again. So I think maybe it's going to work. I see my good friend Gustavo is in the house already, and that's fantastic. So say hello. Let me know where you're from. We're going to be going over a few things today. So I have a bit of a loose agenda, and I'm going to be swapping cameras back and forth. I know I have gotten feedback that it's annoying if I don't look directly at the camera, but because I am managing this myself and I'm producing it on my own, I will have to look back and forth, and I do want to stay active on the chat, so I have to see what you good folks are telling me out there. So I'll be swapping back and forth. I am getting a little more comfortable with all the software in general, so that is good. I'm going to tell you about a few things today, so I'm just going to let you know right now the agenda. And I want to give a shout out to Joe. So I just made sure I got the name right. Joe was kind enough to basically send me a tip, right? He sent over an Amazon like gift card or something like that, right? And I thought it was great. I don't ask for like tips or donations typically. Every now and then if someone mentions like, oh, Doug, I want to send you money, I'm like, I don't really ask for that. But if you want to, if it makes you feel good, if you got value, if you watch this stuff, you can do it. And he sent one over, and I always reinvest into equipment. So the thing that I purchased was a AC adapter for my camera, which is over there. And that is why I'm going to be able to do a lot more with the DSLR sitting over there, a little higher quality. I hope it looks better. It should look a little bit better. You can really see all the imperfections, which is fun, I guess, for everyone else. And it will also make it easier to shoot video in general where I don't need to swap out batteries. There have been cases where I'm recording, things are flowing good, and then the battery dies, and you gotta start back. You gotta do it again. So the AC adapter, it's awesome. Thank you, Joe. Everybody say thanks to Joe. You get a proper shout out. So let me see what's going on in the chat here. We have Gustavo, we have Chunky Moose, what's up? We have Justin, Jeremy, and Annis, Joe, what's going on? Joseph Hardy. And Justin was recently on the show, interviewed him twice. In fact, once in, I think it was like late February or so, Justin, right? And then again, just a couple weeks ago after the Amazon change. So, and then Enthusic Music, what's going on? Good to see you on here. And yeah, thanks for letting me know about my skin. Appreciate it. We do what we can, try to exfoliate and all that stuff. The Mature Man is on as well. So I gave the shout out. Now here's the agenda for today. I was quoted in CNBC about the Amazon commission rate change. So I'm going to show that article. I think I may have mentioned it in passing. I don't think I really talked about it much here on YouTube, but there's an interesting, well, I don't know how interesting it is. There's a backstory. So I'll tell you a little bit about it, but I am going to do a podcast episode. So if you're not subscribed to the podcast, there's a link in the description. And the podcast is going to be about getting on the radar of the CNBC reporter and just how it went and the impact that it's had on my business, which I'll just tell you now, and if you've watched or listened to me very often, you probably know I'm pretty understated. And also, I've mentioned, usually there's no one thing. And I can tell you there was no huge big impact from being on CNBC other than me talking about being featured. All right. So it's fun, but at the end of the day, it's not like that specifically will bring me more business. Now I'm going to probably, work on leveraging that in some capacity, and it's cool and everything, but I'll show you that article. All right. Next, dealing with the Amazon commission rate change. So I put together material for the students of Five Figure Niche Site. So that's great. got that out to the students. People are going through it. I'm also making it available for people who are not in the course. So I'll just show you some of the things that are in there so you can decide if it's something that you want to check out. Next, I'll talk a little bit about a free challenge that we have coming up that's going to be early in June. So that's June 1st through the 5th. And I'll let you know some things that are going on with that, as well as why I'm doing the challenge in general. And I actually recorded like a little sort of vlog setting earlier, which I'll just play a clip. And let's see, what else do we have? I am still experimenting and playing with the Carbonate WordPress theme, and I'm enjoying it very much. It's very fast. It's very lean. There's some code involved. So if you actually want to mess around and customize it to a greater degree, it's the perfect framework and platform, but you do have to mess with some code. So I'm probably going to be hitting up my friend Marty, who's in the chat, you know who you are, and I may need a little help with a couple CSS tweaks, but overall, I mean, it functions fantastic out of the box. Any changes that you have to make are pretty easy to do. Like if you want to change the font or the color or anything like that, very straightforward, and it's just fast. It's really fast, and again, you could build on top of it, which is cool. So we have David in here. You are enjoying the upgraded camera setup. Thanks a lot. New Tan from India. How's it going? David you say you're late, but really, I mean, this is totally fine. You're in the first 10 minutes, so that's great. Oh, Quest Aesthetics ask a question here. This is a great one. Usually I save the questions till the end, but I like this one. Quest says, how do you stay motivated with only 24 viewers? All the best. So I appreciate that because it's a bit of an underhanded question / jab. But here's the deal. I've done live streams with 0 people. I showed up and did live streams for months, week over week for months, and no one showed up, no one gave a shit, but I kept doing it and more people showed up. So I would say you just have to decide if you're going to do a thing or not. And basically this is a smaller showing. And I think a lot of times in the first 10 minutes, people don't know that I'm live until a little bit later. So what happens is after about 20 to 30 minutes, notifications go out. Some people are watching my videos right now and they will see a little notification on the video. It says Doug is live right now, and they will click over. So sometimes you don't have many people showing up, and other times there's a whole lot. So you just have to show up. And that little thing about the notifications, if I didn't show up and do live streams when no one was there, then I wouldn't know that little piece of nuance. But basically, you just have to show up because no one really cares what you're doing unless you're helping them out in some way. And then we have Denise on here. You enjoy the camera as well. This is great. This is good. Annette likes the shows. So what it turns out to be, Quest, is the people that are important, they do show up. A lot of the people that show up are students and or I work with them somehow, which is great. Lucas just got the notification. Yeah, so it just takes a few minutes for everyone to show up. And then there's other people which, they don't like my style, or maybe I talk too slow, or maybe I talk too fast or something like that. But at the end of the day, it works out okay. So you just have to pick what you want to do and then do what you say you're going to do, and then hopefully, you get something out of it. You may not end up with a lot of viewers, but you end up with, hopefully more knowledge. So good question, Quest. And I think it's important for like whatever it is you're working on, because usually if you're like brand new at it, it's going to suck. Things aren't going to work out that well. And you will be wondering why you still show up. So, and it looks like the audio levels could be a little hot. So feel free, folks, if you hear any, extra loudness, if I'm peaking, let me know. I know there's some audio folks out there that will keep me honest. Justin says this in response to my little, I'll say an answer to the question, not a rant. Justin says, that's no different than starting a blog and doing all this work and getting 0 readers. Yes, exactly. And whatever you do, if you do a YouTube channel or a blog or a podcast or whatever the thing is that you think you want to work on, it's great. It's going to be fantastic, but you will have to show up when it sucks and no one's there and no one will be there to encourage you. In fact, there will probably be more people trying to discourage you from doing anything because you're spending a lot of time, especially people that care about you. They'll be sad that you're not getting traction and you're putting a lot of time and effort and you're trying really hard, but it's not working yet. So there will be people that will discourage you along the way. And then on the internet, there are people that don't care about you. And it's just called the rest of the world. And then they will also discourage you potentially in more dramatic ways that are less friendly. So awesome. And I think I hit the agenda for today overall. And I do have a quick note that this is brought to you in part by Ezoic. Ezoic is a Google certified partner. They help you basically earn more money on your website, especially with like informational type posts, which I'm leaning more heavily on these days because you can get just more traffic in general. Sometimes there's less competition from a keyword standpoint. Additionally, Ezoic has AI and machine learning, so it can run tests and basically put the ads on your site, optimize things so that people stay on your site longer, they see more ads. Hopefully it's a better experience because they're staying on your site longer. They wouldn't stay on your site if it wasn't a good experience. And then you probably earn more money because of those ads. And it's through this testing. So if you end up just throwing AdSense on your site, that's great. It can work really well and it depends on the niche that you're in and all that stuff. However, if you're able to take advantage of the machine learning and testing, then you can actually improve over time versus just throwing the ads on your site and hoping for the best. So thanks to Ezoic. They also have a site speed accelerator. There's a free 7-day trial. You could click the link in the description. All right. The other thing that I have going on is, luckily, I have several clips that I could play here for us, which it helps. It helps me. It's a little easier to run these babies. So I'm trying to switch cameras. It's not working for me. So we just got to roll with it. And this clip here is a good segue into what I'm going to talk about after the clip. So this is Jesse Lakes from Genius Link, and he's talking about affiliate programs outside of Amazon. So this is part of a full interview that I did with Jesse. He is the co-founder, CEO currently of Genius Link, and he's going to talk about other programs. And he's also, I think in this clip, if I remember right, there's going to be a demo of choice pages, and he'll explain what they are, and we'll kind of go into some of the details. So here's Jesse Lakes of Genius Link.
Yeah, there's affiliate marketing is everywhere for better or worse. A lot of people, and especially the audience here, know Amazon well, which is why they're here, because we're talking about the massive black eye they gave us. But so many different retailers and brands have their own affiliate program. So it kind of goes back to what is your specific industry? What is your specific niche? What are you promoting? If you're pushing a lot of running shoes, well, Nike has its own affiliate program. You don't have to. Nike's a bad example because of the Amazon thing, but New Balance has its own affiliate program. Adidas has its own affiliate program. So each of those use different affiliate networks. So kind of back to what you were saying, CJ versus Awin versus Impact versus Rakuten, et cetera. I see that kind of as a byproduct, but I think really kind of narrowing in, where does your audience buy, or where would your audience like to buy, right? If it's running shoes, well, they're probably going to trust Amazon. Foot Locker's pretty well known, at least here in the US, and they'd probably be willing to buy directly from the store because the brand name is huge. So right there's 3 great opportunities to promote your product. 2 of them are outside of Amazon, or to sell that product via affiliate.
And just in general, Jesse, can you just give like the 1-sentence summary of Genius Link, just so people know what you guys do?
Yeah, so for the audience here, a lot of Amazon affiliate users, we help make your links work globally. We are a premium version of the One Link tool. One Link was kind of modeled after the technology we built out. So making sure you're not leaving money on the table internationally.
Cool. And it works for some other programs as well. If you would just want to mention that. I know we have a lot of Amazon affiliate folks here, but I mean, it's a pretty robust product.
Try to be, exactly. Started with iTunes. That was my background. Amazon was next. We also helped the Microsoft affiliate ecosystem. But in the last few years, we've really opened it up to be a lot more affiliate program agnostic. So you can use our tools with any link, any affiliate link. We support a good number of the most popular affiliate programs. We also support VigLink and SkimLinks, or I guess Sovereign Commerce as they're known now, and SkimLink. So you can drop in one of tens of thousands of different links to different retailers, and we can make sure those are affiliated. But I think the real value is what we're going to be getting to here in a few is instead of having to answer that either or question, what about having multiple buy buttons for a single product recommendation? I think that's really one of the technologies we're most excited about, and we're really starting to shine. And what seems to be most applicable to today's unfortunate situation is how to take those lemons and make some lemonade. Awesome. So yeah, we call these choice pages, and the gist is that they're landing pages. Landing pages where you can promote just a single product and have multiple different retailers. So you'll notice that Amazon is a pretty common option here. So the idea again is that you don't have to decide, is it Amazon or Walmart, Amazon or Best Buy? It can be multiple ones. Choice pages were originally built out for the music industry, where music streaming, music buying is a bit of a commodity. We found that our audience, specifically in the book space, was also really appreciated. We had a handful of different creators that were starting to use choice pages to promote camera gear, and had some huge successes. Armando Freire from Mondo Bites is kind of the poster child here because his success was just such runaway, but he more than doubled his Amazon commissions and became a top affiliate for B&H Photo Video, another major retailer in the video area, just by starting to use choice pages instead of direct Amazon links. So let me actually just kind of walk you through what that looks like. So again, here, what a choice page looks like all said and done is, again, simple landing page with your multiple buy buttons, some sort of art, description, call to action. You have your disclosures, your FTC disclosure, your Amazon disclosure is here, etc. So it's really kind of packaged and built specifically for affiliate links. So the way we build it, again, is coming from the Genius Link dashboard. We jump in, we can just do a new choice page. You can do some organization pieces, but the gist is you're probably starting with an Amazon link. So here's an Amazon product I'm using right now. If you can hear me okay, then I'm recommending it. We can just go ahead and grab that link, jump over to the dashboard. We'll just go ahead and drop that in. So what we're doing is we're parsing this link real quick. We figure out what the product art is. We grab the title. We've got a call to action there. We'll mess with that in a minute. We also just released this new feature called suggestions. And the idea is that, again, Amazon is one retailer. Amazon's loading their commissions. We can do better. So let's just see these suggestions real quick. So B&H, the retailer I mentioned before, is a great place to buy. So I want that one included. And then Walmart, I also have my affiliate tracking information saved for, so I can drop that in. If you have your Sovereign Commerce or your SkimLinks API added into Genius Link, it's likely you'll have affiliate options for these ones as well. But we've got those. Let me go ahead back. One of the calls to action that I think is really helpful, especially at this time, is find the best price below. We have two different themes. I think the product looks best on the white. We got a couple different options. So now we're just gonna go ahead and save. And now we have this link. So this link now, if we drop that into a new browser, and we have our Amazon button for those that are going to buy on Amazon. We've got B&H and Walmart, and we can find the best price below. So B&H looks like it is, B&H is a little slow at the moment, but got a bunch of different options. So perfect. Okay, and then we can jump back. We can check Walmart price, and we can look at Amazon price. So by looking and doing that price comparison right there kind of on the fly, I just actually set affiliate cookies in 3 different retailers. I also know that Amazon's the best price, and so I'm going to go ahead and move forward with Amazon. So my conversion rate, we found the conversion rate from using choice pages is actually higher because of this action right here of people clicking, doing that price comparison, looking for the best price. It kind of adds what we call micro conversions. So people get more and more incentivized to actually go through and finish that buying process because they've already done their price comparison. They're confident that Amazon is the best place to buy. They can move forward. But in this, it may have been B&H, it may have been Walmart. Amazon does not always have the lowest price. Some people, again, don't shop at Amazon. My wife has Prime, so we shop at Amazon regularly. But if I don't have Prime, then it may be worth a little bit more to buy from another place, etc.
All right, and that was Jesse Lakes showing off basically choice pages. And Justin had a comment in the chat there. Basically, I wonder how this works for conversions. Now, Jesse commented on it, and I'm pretty sure conversions vary across industries and niches and just the buying patterns of the kind of traffic you have on your site. So I suspect it varies greatly. However, the logic that Jesse describes here, which I pressed him on that particular interview as well, the more steps, right? Conventional wisdom says the more steps a person has to take, the more failure points, because a person could click the first button and think, I don't want to look at these other links here. But at the same time, there's the other set of audience, the visitors on your site that are very interested and they do want to check out the best price. So like Jesse said, if they're looking at Walmart and they're looking at B&H Photo and at Amazon and they find the lowest price, they're a little more inclined potentially for certain industries. I think photo is one of them. Photo and video is one of them, where if you are shopping around and you do find the best price, you're like, okay, I'm going to feel good about this. I'm not going to feel buyer's remorse in a few days when I see a cheaper price. That said, you'd have to test on your own site and see how it works. And no one will know except for you. Further, just to push that point home, I've been looking at the Canon RP, and I asked in the chat, does anyone have the Canon RP? That is the full frame mirrorless camera, and it looks pretty nice. I like camera gear. You could probably, actually it's over on this side, so you can't see it so well unless I switch cameras to... Unless I switch cameras, which for some reason it was trying to play the clip again. So we just got to roll with it here. But I like camera gear, and I've been looking at the Canon RP. So if anyone has used the Canon RP, let me know in the chat, shoot me an email. I don't have any major concerns. I have a few lenses that are compatible. It's not the RF line, but it's full frame lenses. I'm geeking out on cameras here, but I have some full frame lenses which are going to be fine. They're nice. And then a couple I have are for the APS style sensors, the smaller ones. So those are EFS lenses, but there's an adapter and I should be able to use them, and it'll just have the cropping factor in there. So for the people that know what I'm talking about, let me know if you know anything about the Canon RP. It will be very helpful at this point, like that camera right there is like sort of in a permanent fixture. Like for me to take that down, I have to unhook several things, which I can show you in just a second. So one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to try to switch things over without screwing up here. I think it may try and play the clip, so just bear with me. If it does, I'll be right back. Let's try this.
Yeah,
all right. It is trying to play the clip, and I'm not 100% sure why. But again, we just have to roll with it, and it should be switching to this camera right here. This is live. This is the real deal. Okay, there we go. There's just too many settings. There's too many things. So there's a bunch of camera stuff right there. Lenses, fun stuff over there. So a couple things I want to show you. Number one, I want to share this story from CNBC. So I'm going to try and switch cameras again. We're all learning at the same time. There, that worked. Getting the hang of it here. All right. So basically, this was a big deal when Amazon changed the commission rates. It impacted a lot of people just like us, but it also impacted a lot more people that are outside just the pure affiliate marketing area and the making money online, which is like this is what we're into, right? SEO and all that stuff. There are a lot of other people that are just regular bloggers, or in this CNBC Story ended up being a lot of YouTubers. So that is some of the stuff that I'm going to talk about when I record the podcast. So if you are not subscribed to my podcast, you should. There's even more content. So there's interviews with people like Justin and other folks. I'm trying to think if there were other people in the chat that I've interviewed, but there's a lot of people that you know and have heard of that are on the podcast as well. And it's like a little different content is also. So with that said, it was a big deal. And basically CNBC wanted to like dig a little deeper. So they published a story pretty quickly, very quickly, right when this change came out and people got the emails. And then they basically went out to YouTube, as far as I could tell, because all the folks on here that were interviewed were on YouTube. And the company that I have with the other people it's amazing. They're way bigger than me, and I'm not sure. I mean, they saw the live stream, basically. So I'm not going to go too in depth, but it was a very nice reporter, nice woman, Megan Graham, contacted me and was like, hey, Doug, do you want to chat with us about this? Blah, blah, blah. And then it went from there. But some of the other people featured Income School. So they talked to Jim over at Income School, smart folks over there. Talked to Ricky as well. So I'm not sure if they did a joint call. I haven't caught up with either one of those guys. They chatted with, let's see, I had a nice little section in here. Doug Cunnington, affiliate marketer in YouTube. And there were a couple things that I would have done differently, by the way. And I'll share that in the podcast. I'll tease you guys to come over to the podcast. David says he loves the podcast. All right, so a couple other folks, Erin over at YouTube as well. And she's more into the fashion and beauty area. And basically, the YouTube side, especially like Sean Cannell, I watched a lot of his videos from Think Media and his brand in general. They said that they were making $30,000 in profit each month from Amazon. And he is primarily a YouTube person. He does have, other pieces of his platform, courses and all that stuff. But basically they were pulling in like and I watched a ton of videos when I was trying to get started on YouTube and figure out what equipment to get. And they do great reviews, really engaging. He's a wonderful speaker. I've watched some of his keynotes on YouTube where he published them. So anyway, YouTube looked to be where they were doing the research, and it was cool to be mentioned alongside all of these other folks because it was really, just an awesome group of people. And I felt like maybe I was like the smallest one of all of them. So kind of cool to be in that group. It's kind of like when you move into a neighborhood, you don't want to be in like the biggest, most expensive house. You want to be like in the smallest, cheapest house in the neighborhood, and everyone pulls you up. So that's kind of where you want to be. The other thing I want to let you know is, let's see, I mentioned that course update for 5-figure niche site. So I'm not going to dwell on this for too long. This is primarily for the people in the course. So if you're in the course, you don't have to pay anything extra for this. It is just included with the course. And because I try and take care of the students out there. And this is basically what it is. So I will mention that it's an amendment to the course and it's free of charge. It's not comprehensive. You don't get enrollment to the full 5-figure niche site course. It is merely a set of strategies and tools and a lot of templates that you can use to diversify the income on your site. Assuming you have traffic, you have an asset, and you could figure out how to monetize it in a different way. So I go through other affiliate programs, prioritizing, and how to approach other companies so you could sort of figure out how to tackle things. There's a lot of things you could do, and you really shouldn't do all of them. So we could figure out how to prioritize and target exactly what you want to do so you're not overwhelmed. Additionally, talk a little bit about choice pages, and then next I go into display ad options, including working with ad networks and then direct ad placements. one thing that I'm in talks with, I do have a list of other affiliate programs that are out there along with premium rates. So rates which are not published on the marketplaces that you see out there. So you may be able to go and look at those marketplaces and you'll see Target listed and you'll see the fee schedule. Maybe you see Home Depot or, the thousands of other small shops out there. And you're like, you know what? That's not that much higher than Amazon. Well, it turns out not only are other rates out there, higher rates that they don't publish, you can also work directly with the companies. And some of the contacts that I have now, and I'm working out the details. It's not published yet. So if you're in the course, you haven't seen it yet, it's not published yet. It will be coming soon. But basically, they want to work with, like, these companies see this as an opportunity. They want to work with us. They want to get hooked up with us, and they don't know how to get in touch except via me and working through other folks, which totally makes sense. But they can, if you're interested in sponsored posts, putting display ads on your site directly from a company, right? So ad networks, one of the big gripes is it slows down your site. It will slow down your site dramatically. There's a lot more calls. There's real-time auction stuff happening, bidding going on, and ad networks will slow down your site. So if you could work directly with a company and just put a fixed ad that is not going to change every time the site's delivered, every time the page renders, you're probably going to have a faster loading site. By the way, that's one of the biggest gripes that Matt Giovanisi had from moneylab.co and Listen to Money Matters. He has a site, Swim University, making hundreds of thousands of dollars per year, and he doesn't want to put ads on it because it'll slow his site down a lot. So anyway, moving on from there, we have email templates, and I will be adding some of the contact information and the premium affiliate rates that are out there. So keep that in mind if you are interested in checking out the course, this mini course, this amendment to the full course. You can get to the link in the description and check it out. So I think I can, there's all these little options. There we go. That's pretty good. We can do that. Speaking of Matt Giovanisi, I do have a clip of him because I did a live stream with him not too long ago. We did a lot of Q&A and a lot of other stuff, and we talked about, I think one of the clips that I have is around launching his, basically launching quickly and executing fast. So Matt is very entertaining. I can just ask like one question and he'll talk for like 15 minutes. It's great to interview him because it goes fast. It goes fast. So let me get that clip rolling, rocking and rolling for you here. Fingers crossed.
I make them. Oh, which animated videos? I'm assuming the ones from Swim University, perhaps the ones from our former Lasso page. I will tell you both. The ones for Swim University, we use ScreenFlow, actually. Mm-hmm. If you're familiar with like screencasting, you can actually animate PNGs and different graphic files. So we create all the graphic files, we build the scene, and then we reanimate the scene with a voiceover. So that's how we're doing it for Swim University. And for like anything else that I do for like my intros and stuff, I use After Effects. So I can do like just different, like more complex things that you can't do in ScreenFlow. ScreenFlow, you can really just take elements and move them into place and text and all that stuff. And for like more complex, like true animation, I use After Effects.
Cool. And I use ScreenFlow myself. My friend Alex Cooper from WP Eagle in the chat loves ScreenFlow too. Yeah, it's for Macs, and it's just it's awesome. So
I use it today. Made a whole video today.
Jamie Penny says, how many page views should you have for most affiliate programs?
That's a tough question because I know one thing. For the previous Amazon a pre-commission slash. I remember Income School. They were saying about 30,000 page views will equal about $1,000 per month. That has probably changed, but that was the only thing I remembered as like a rule of thumb kind of thing.
Sure.
And so that has been true across 3 of my websites. I don't know if that changes or not, but I'm sure it will. It'll be more like $700 or $800 per 30,000 page views.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's helpful or not, but
yeah. And I would say my observations are pretty close to the same. I usually scale it down because it takes people to get a little longer to 30,000 page views. So typically I would describe it roughly the same, but just lower dollar amounts, but the same equation. And by the way, that is the most generalized because different price points, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, and Jamie, I would say once you have enough content on your site, say 10 to 20 posts, go ahead and apply. There's no harm in applying. And
no,
I mean, go for it.
Money Lab only gets like 3,000 visitors a month, and it probably makes close to $1,000 in affiliate revenue.
Well, we're sending a bunch more people there, buddy. So it's going to be going up. You got to split it with me.
No, it's like the hardest site to market. There's no SEO. It's all word of mouth.
John Moore asks, can you use different affiliate IDs with Lasso, and you have a different tag for each post is what John says.
Depending on what you're referring to, if you're referring to Amazon, you would use the same tracking ID for all of Lasso, but then you would send click tracking data into Google Analytics so that you could break it down by page.
Very good.
But if you were using other affiliate programs, you can add whatever URL you want. It's not just Amazon. You can add literally any affiliate URL with any tracking ID to any link.
Cool.
But each page would be the same link, so that way, if you had like a single affiliate link across 200 pages on your website, you could update it in one place, and it would update across 200 pages.
Got it. So, and for the full context for people that don't know what or why John is asking. So John, I believe, was trying to track his revenue per page by using tracking IDs, which is a very difficult way to actually implement. Let's say you have 600 pages. Well, that's not a viable option. But if you use Google Analytics, then you have analytics. You have analytics for exactly what you're looking for. And so
if you use something like Impact Radius and you can add sub IDs into links, then you can use something like the Affluent dashboard, which I know is pretty expensive, but you can use it to track really detailed shit. Eventually, something that we're working on, but it's for now that's kind of the solution. But yeah, that's really technical, high end shit. But you can do it that way for sure.
Yeah,
with Lasso.
And
that's what Andrew does specifically.
Okay, very good. And I was going to say, I mean, people want to have more data, but I never track to that granularity, and the value in which you get from that level of data is tough to really capitalize on. Yeah,
I mean, Andrew's done it. I mean, again, like this is like stage 1 of Lasso. It gets much bigger than this in the future, but yeah, it's like kind of like getting into that more granular data detail stuff, which he's a big data expert. It's where he comes from, is his background. So that's kind of where we're headed. But for now, Google Analytics is like giving us the best tracking that we've seen so far, which is awesome. But then you can use something like Affluent, which is a dashboard for sub ID tracking with specific affiliate programs. Amazon is not one of them. Amazon's really one of the hardest ones, and now that they got rid of the content insights, really difficult, because you could have done it with content insights with some spreadsheet crossover stuff, which we have done in the past. You can even use something like Google Data Studio to start connecting those data points between Google Analytics data you get from Lasso and other APIs that you want to connect to, which I have videos on as well. Not that granular, but pretty awesome.
Cool. Next question from Matt Plale. Launch a new site quickly that is ugly with missing content and not that great writing, or take 6 months and launch something good. What do you think, Matt?
I would say everything but the ugly part. There's so many themes out there, one of them being mine, where you can launch a very clean, very fast, very neatly designed, very professional looking website very, very quickly. And I would say spend almost 5% of your time putting the technical stuff together and 95% of the time writing, just writing. And videos if you can, but writing.
Yes.
Word.
And I generally agree. I mean, let's say you do launch the site in 1 month. Well, what do you do with the other 5 months? I mean, what are you doing there?
Keep writing, keep making. You got to keep going forever, 15 years and nonstop, every twice a week, 3 times a week.
And I would say launch quick and then iterate. So Matt launched Lasso pretty quick, and I know there were some other moving parts, but you had an idea, you do it, and then you adapt from there. So
yeah, I mean, the original version of Lasso was called Earnest, and that was done in 40 days. You can read about it on Money Lab. And then it was like iterate, test, talk to your customers, beat it up, find out, learn new things, change, have a million conversations about pricing, and then settle on something.
Yeah. Well, and then the pricing thing is just, I mean, you pick a point, you launch it, you see what happens, and then you adjust from there. I mean, it's all iteration, because whatever your guess is, it is 100% wrong. Like,
yeah. Yep.
So
everything is an experiment. That's just like motto I live by with pretty much everything.
All right, that was Matt Giovanisi, and there were a couple questions that came in around placing links and the choice pages that we saw earlier. So Justin did ask about the choice pages, I believe. Says, does the choice page work if you're working with an affiliate directly and then doesn't have an affiliate program? And does the business logo show up automatically on the choice page? So I think the business logo shows up automatically if it's one of the programs that Genius Link is pulling from. As far as if you're working with a company directly and they don't have a specific affiliate program and it's not integrated with Genius Link, I don't think it'll work in the same way. You may have the opportunity to put a link in. I'm not sure, but if that is the case, I would potentially use Lasso. All right. So Lasso allows you to put 2 affiliate links in the same feature box, similar to what the Wirecutter does. I mean, I think they were trying to mimic it. And that ties in beautifully with Ahmed's question about the techniques that the Wirecutter uses. And basically I said to use Lasso. That's essentially, you can get very similar feature boxes, both buttons, and, Ahmed said that he tried it. So my question to you is, what's the issue? So you wanted to have the feature box with 2 affiliate links. So what's the problem with the implementation? I don't know if the implementation is the issue or if it's some other thing. So let me know in the chat and we'll see if we can help out. The other question that came in is about YouTube. So it's from Artemy. Dear Doug, what keyword strategy would you suggest for starting a YouTube channel? You love the low keyword golden ratio approach for Google SEO, but what do you do for YouTube? So you can use some of the same ideas where you run the same calculations. You can't get the search volume as far as I can tell. People have told me there are tools that say, hey, the search volume is this on YouTube, but I haven't tested that. I don't know if they're accurate. I don't know where the data is pulled from. Maybe that data is available and there are actual stats on YouTube search, but that I don't know. So what I would do is basically use the auto suggest feature of YouTube and just on a topic, ask all the questions that you could think of, see how the auto complete fills out, look at topics, and just kind of try to dissect it based on the auto suggest. You end up in a good spot because those are things that people are searching for. It's literally automatically suggested from YouTube, so you know that people are out there looking for it. The kind of cool thing with YouTube is you can have videos still like blow up even if you don't have much of a channel. If you don't have many subscribers, you can publish something that people are searching for and you can get a lot of views on those videos. Now, whether they come back and stick around and subscribe and interact with you, I mean, you have to have good content at that point. But I've been, like I said, looking at cameras, so it's easy for me to give examples about cameras. So I've been looking at different options for the camera that I could get, like the Canon RP, right? So I'm looking at the Canon RP versus a Canon M50, for example, or my current camera, the Canon RP versus a Canon T7i. Very specific. And what I'm finding is, I'm finding these pretty good photographers and filmmakers, way better than, the bullshit that I'm doing here. They're literally like photographers and videographers and filmmakers, and they have good gear, and they have a YouTube channel with like 100 or 300 subscribers, and they have these videos on camera gear that are fine, and they have 3,000 views or 5,000 views or something huge, way bigger, because people are looking for that topic. And if you know that, right? So you start thinking about cameras, you could compare all the cameras within a line. I have Canon lenses, so I'm sticking with Canon. I have, used Canon for 25 years, basically, since I was able to, take some pictures and buy cameras and stuff. So I have a bias towards Canon. However, if you don't, and you're trying to compare Canon versus Sony or like Panasonic or something like that, all the different permutations of the combos that you can compare, like you could just have a camera and video comparison website just where you look at those specific stats comparing cameras together. So that said, you can approach keyword research on YouTube that way. If you know there's products where people are comparing and trying to figure out what to get, that's a slam dunk right there. Slam dunk. All right. I am going to play another clip here. This one is a little bit of sort of vloggy, and I'm going to talk about the upcoming challenge. It's going to be free, folks, so pay attention. I don't have the sign up address yet, but it'll be June 1st through the 5th. So just keep an eye out. Once I do have the address, I will update the description here, and basically I'll be talking about it a lot more, but I want to share what I've been working on there. And if I can, I have some of these presets going, but I'm not 100% sure how to make them work all the time. All right, let's try this. So I'm working on this new course, and it's a ton of work. So I've been a little stressed out for the last couple weeks. So a ton of things have been going on. We had the Amazon affiliate commission rate change. There's a Google algorithm update. I've seen a little bit of a drop in traffic on some sites, a little uptick in others. I've heard, mixed results across the board. And then this course, which I was planning on working on, and it's a ton of work. I have an outline, which I'll sort of point out in a few minutes here, but I have an outline that I've worked through, and that's usually how I set things up. I'll write an outline, kind of get the high level points. And then I think this is about 5 pages long for this particular course. It's a pretty beefy one. It's a little bit more in depth, especially in some areas that I haven't really taught about before. And then the thing is, I'm working with a group to help promote it. Actually, we've sort of partnered together as the Internet Marketing Gold group. Some very smart folks there, people that have been on the show. And it's a good group of people, and I'll tell you more about it later. But basically, they had this idea to do a challenge the week before. So we have an upcoming challenge. It'll be June 1st through June 5th. It'll be 5 days long, 3 live sessions. I'm going to be running it and hopefully using all the skills that I've picked up by running these live streams basically to be able to do a live stream, teach a session, and, come out the other side without too many technical difficulties. It's always tough. But anyway, the thing is, I kind of wanted to show a little bit of the office too, because I'm unable to do like a proper tour right now, which I'll show you in a second. But there's some cool stuff. You'll see, pictures around, and I've been sort of showing off a few pictures here and there. And yeah, so I'll give a super quick tour. And the reason why I can't give a more in-depth tour, one, I'm busy working on the course, right? Like that's one of the main points, just writing and writing and writing. But the other thing is I use a teleprompter. So let me show you. I use a teleprompter, and I only have one. There's the big light there set up. And the teleprompter is right here. I'm trying to point. It's right there. So I only have one DSLR. I know some folks that are, really obsessive. I'm looking at some others, by the way. If anybody has any opinions on the Canon RP, let me know. But basically, this is my rig right here. So we got the Canon T7i and the teleprompter set up, and I just use an iPad mini, and you can see all my fingerprints on it. So I use that iPad mini, and basically I'm able to, read the material. And for me, it's really important. Let me set this back down and hopefully be able to talk here. For me, it's really important to say exactly what I need to say and no more than that. If you're teaching a course, the worst thing you can do is aim for a 5-minute video, for example, and then it's 15 or 20 minutes long. Imagine this, and I remember hearing stories. I don't think I had any professors that were like this, but I think sometimes young professors, they may stand up, they're going to teach a lesson, and they only get through 10% of what they were thinking they were going to get through, because they hit a tangent and they just rambled on about something else, and they just tried to explain too much out of context. It doesn't make sense, and then you end up not covering what you need to cover. Because this course is so in depth and basically there's a ton of material, I can't afford to make it too long. It's basically unusable. If you make videos that ramble on too much, that are trying to explain every little thing, you can't do that. It is too confusing for the students. So anyway, I'm going through and writing everything, and the script, that's the point with the teleprompter there, the script forces you to keep everything tight and concise, and I can edit it. I can have someone help me edit and trim it down so that there's just exactly what needs to be in there and no more. You don't want to have too much. I know it feels kind of good when you see someone talking about their course and there's like 120 videos and there's all this other material. Sometimes it's too much. Like you need to have, I would prefer to get a shorter course that just has the meat of exactly what I need. So it will be a struggle. I'm probably going to have to edit certain pieces down so as not to go too overboard. So that's sort of how I approach courses, write the outline, write the scripts, edit it down, and then record them. The other thing that I do and that I would recommend is I don't think that it is a one-time exercise. You have to get feedback from the students. You have to understand the questions that they're asking. And then what I'll do after beta students go through, after more students go through, you understand areas where maybe you didn't provide enough detail. Maybe it was a little confusing the way it was presented, so people have questions. And then you could just create a video or add a section of frequently asked questions and just hit those areas that need more content. So that's the way I approach it overall. And I started to record a couple other things. So I'm going to leave it at that. I will send it back to myself on the same live stream video. All right, that was almost smooth. I had technical difficulties while I was actually recording that, so I figured out a couple things, but I mean, the iPhone does pretty good. And I would say, I have this cool camera and upgraded my gear and all that stuff. But I mean, if you want to start a YouTube channel, you could absolutely just do it from your phone or even your laptop, little webcam. It doesn't need to be fancy. And I mean, really the exposure and everything with an iPhone or whatever device you have, I mean, typically if it was made in the last couple of years, it's going to be pretty awesome. It's going to work pretty well for you. So that is some of the stuff I'm working on. I also want to show you, just from a project management standpoint, I do have a Trello board that I set up that I could just share. There's no super critical information in here, I don't think. And basically, because I'm working with some folks, there are extra people working on things and they're asking me for stuff, which is fine, but they haven't done this before, and they haven't done a challenge before, and they haven't done, some of the other, we're using this camera now. Okay. So they haven't done some of the stuff before, and a lot of the requests, I mean, it's just not project managed very well. And then my piece is all the content and, a lot of the other details. They're doing a lot of the marketing, which is fantastic. The thing is, I have, a folder structure set up in Google Docs and Google Drive. So I have folders set up and all the material can be in there. I can easily share it with my editor to edit the content and make sure it's proper English and all that stuff. And then this is just a super simple Trello board where here's the stuff we have to work on here. You can see there's a lot of stuff going on here. There's templates that I've noted, and then challenge material. And I will be dragging things over like this as I am working on it. And over time, we will feel good about ourselves because you're slowly dragging more things over and you see that you're actually getting work done, which is good because it's always a little daunting when you're at the very beginning of a project and you're just like, what am I supposed to work on? There's so many things I have to finish. Am I behind on everything? Am I ahead of schedule? I have no idea. And I can plug in dates there if I wanted to. And, really at some point I will have to hop in and do that. What is also going to happen is I will probably, put a blanket in front of the doors there, get a huge pot of coffee and food, and just stay in here for multiple days in a row and just write the scripts, then get rest and record. Because if you try to record when you're too tired, you're just going to make mistakes and you look awful. So the other thing I could do, like I had to record a little bit today, and I was like, oh man, I haven't shaved in a while. And that's something I'm going to have to do for the recording days. I'm going to need to clean up a little bit and maybe not put so much sunscreen on because it just makes me real shiny. And typically, I'm wearing just a black t-shirt, so that's good. I'm not going to have any incontinuity or anything like that. So that's good. Anyway, challenge is going to be coming out soon. I will share the sign up spots for that. And don't forget, you will be able to get free enrollment into the course, right? If you win, you have to do all the assignments. You got to sign up for the challenge, do the assignments. They're straightforward, but you do have to show up and you have to do the work. And there's 3 live streams. Should be pretty awesome. I think I'm going to end up doing it on the YouTube platform just because it's going to work. Number one, it's robust, and there's a lot of other technical issues that I won't even get into at this point. So what's some of the other stuff? I think I had another clip here if I could figure out how to play it. I'm going to do this a little differently just because I think sometimes a more manual way to deal with this can be good instead of all these little auto scenes that I have set up. So this is another clip from Matt Giovanisi here. And he got hit hard. If you didn't catch the full interview, you can watch it on YouTube if you want. We did, I think it was an hour and 45-minute live stream, or you can listen to it because I pulled the audio and then published it on the podcast. So part 1 came out today, or yesterday rather. Part 1 came out yesterday, and that is sort of just a interview and discussion between Matt and myself. And on Monday, the Q&A is going to play. So we heard a little clip of that earlier. And right now, we're going to talk to Matt about upselling, because one of the strategies that he wants to implement to reclaim some of the revenue that he's losing because of the commission rate change is through what he called micro upsells. And I thought, well, that sounds small. Like, why? Well, micro's in the name, but I was like, why upsells versus, pushing out new products? Why are you taking that approach? So he explains that. And obviously there's no way to know which one's right. You just have to pick a plan, do it, and then adjust along the way. The good part is with upselling, he does have like the ability to move fast, automatically start trying to make the upsells and then add more upsells. And it's a little bit less work to implement than to come up with a whole brand new course. So here's Matt Giovanisi from MoneyLab.co.
All right, so Swim University has had this, like, trying to figure out the Swim University audience is like both easy and incredibly difficult. One, we're dealing with a lot of people who are who are older. We're talking about like your grandparents own in-ground pools, and your grandkids are swimming in them. Believe it or not, I get a lot of widows email us. Husband dies, they need to take care of their pool, and they're kind of lost, and they find Swim University. So from that anecdotal evidence, I was in the pool industry, like talking to these people. I mean, and I always say this, like, imagine a 13-year-old boy telling an adult how to do something, like how to take care of their pool. Like, they're coming to a kid.
Yeah. And you're the 13-year-old boy.
I'm the 13-year-old boy in this scenario because it really happened. And it's like, that kind of power is ridiculous, right?
Sure.
And regardless, it's just a funny anecdote. But this is like, our audience is older people. They're not really that, I mean, like, majority are internet savvy, but some are not. And so, like, we get a lot of people who email us and go, when am I getting my book? I'm like, we're not getting a book. You got it. It's like, oh, you ever enter your address in? How would we know where to send it? It's just like things like that. And we get it all the time. I can't even put enough messaging in our sales cycle to stop it. It just happened. We had a book that came out. When I read, if anyone's familiar with Nathan Barry, who runs ConvertKit, had a book that came out called Authority. And I read that book because I was like, I'm going to create a product for Swim University many years ago. Created that product. It was called the Hot Tub Handbook, which is still for sale today. And I put it up he was like, you got to charge a lot of money for your book. Charge money for your book. I'm like, cool. And to me, $49 was a lot of money. And no one bought that shit at all. They were like, I don't want it. Until I got it down to $29. And then sales just picked up. And it wasn't a traffic change. It was because this is anecdotal, but I believe that my audience was like, a book cost $24 to $29 because I've been to Barnes & Noble and I've looked at the UPC code on the back of a book and seen US, Canada, those prices. And until I hit that moment, and this is for any product, like, until you hit that price point for your audience, like, it just kicks. So later I was like, okay, I can't charge more money for an ebook. I could call it a digital guide, which I tried to do. Doesn't change the fact that it's a book in their minds. And so I was like, I need to add to this product in order to charge more for it. And so this is when I added the video course to it as an upsell, and then later combine them into one product. So the video course and the ebook are now $49. Why 49 and not 100? I have not tried this, but charging a lot of money to teach people how to clean is a tough sell. So it's not like I'm teaching them how to make money. I'm not teaching them how to lose weight. I'm not teaching them how to have better sex. I'm teaching them how to clean a pool. It is just the most unsexy. It's like how much would you pay for the art of tidying it up or whatever, Marie Kondo's book. How much would you pay for a course by Marie Kondo? Like probably not thousands of dollars, I would imagine. Maybe her consulting service, that's different. But I just think it's tough. So the idea here is that I created the Pool Care Handbook and Video course. It's literally an entire course on pool maintenance, which is what my entire website's about. But it's video and it's like stuff that you're not going to get on the website. And so I'm like, well, is there anything bigger than that? Is there a higher tier? And I think as soon as I started thinking about that, it's like, yeah, but that's going to require a lot of work. And so I don't have that kind of time right now with Amazon giving me only 7 days to fix this revenue issue. What can I do instead? And so that was like, okay, my goal is to earn more per customer. I just need to increase the amount I earn per customer. An easy way to do that, increase the price, right? But then I may lose customers. So I was like, let me just add a little small product, $20, that to a sale. So it's like, hey, some people will buy it, some people won't, but I won't lose those original sales I had, and I may gain some extra income from those new sales I have. And obviously, I have an entire back catalog of customers who've bought my product over the last 4 years that I can just say, hey, we have a new product. It's great. So I might get an influx of cash flow in the beginning. And then we're going to create one for the hot tub side. And then it's like, then it's becoming a niche thing where it's like, okay, we have this main product that kind of works for everybody. But what about people who have saltwater pools? Do they need something? They need special treatment. People with Baquasil pools need special treatment. People with Intex pools need special treatment. And it's kind of like niching down without ruining the base. It's kind of the whole plan there.
I like it.
And hopefully earning more per, more, I don't know what they call it, like revenue per customer. Is that there's a good acronym, right?
That sounds good.
Yeah. RPC.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the idea there to kind of rectify this problem. And and like literally the day after this all happened, when I came to my senses, we started working on that product. So we're actively coming out with it before pool season officially starts, which is Memorial Day is that. So we hopefully will get it done before that, and it's really easy to do. It's just like it's going to be a $20 guide that is kind of an add-on. We're not going to muddy up our marketing at all because our marketing works, so we don't want to go, hey, we'll advertise this to some people and not, and it's like, well, what if they only buy that and then they don't buy the big course? Let's just upsell the people who want the big course.
Sure. That makes sense.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll see what happens. I mean, not again. First time I said it on this live stream, everything's an experiment. So if it doesn't work, we'll pivot. If it does work, then I'll be thanked.
And I think that's key. I mean, when I have launched courses and other products, you launch it and then you're maybe 25% done because then you have to figure out how to market it if you need to adjust. If you pick the wrong market, like you said, you could sell ebooks for a lot, but if your market thinks ebooks are like regular books and they have a anchor point from Barnes and Noble, then you got to adjust. And you have a pretty good idea of the price range that they're comfortable with. And hey, if they just spent whatever, $29, another $20, that's pretty good. And you're, what is that, like a 80% increase in rev?
We're looking. We did close to $100,000 in product sales last year. So, I'm okay. It's like we're fine, and perhaps we have to look at other brands. Like Swimming Diversity may just get hit, and and even if we switch to something like Walmart or any of the other e-commerce stores, like just get hit. So what do we do? More products, better marketing, more traffic, and then try to find even other revenue streams outside of even that.
And everyone should be able to hear me now. So basically, Matt Giovanisi has a theme. He has moneylab.co. He talked about the commission rate cut, and then he also talked about what he's going to be doing. So those are the recent blog posts. And David asked a question. He says, in my email today, I mentioned that I just bought a site from HPD, and that is since the commission rate cut. The answer is no. The answer is that is the signature area of my emails, basically in the email template. So I am, this is a real deal. Basically, I run things as lean as I can, and I am trying to push out content that's good enough. So sometimes there's old material, especially in emails. So I have an autoresponder, and just this last week, someone said, "Hey, Doug, this article I think maybe is from last year, but you just sent out an email for it." And that's true. The hard part is it's cool when you can publish something right away, and then you get good traction. And I realize, oh, this is kind of universal. It's evergreen, but there's one part that says, in June of 2019, I did XYZ, and I have to go back and fix those. And I'm running a lean team with just me and a couple assistants. So I don't have anyone going out there trying to make sure everything's up to date. So David, I did not just buy the site. I bought the site in June of 2019. It is still pulling in, traffic and earnings. And unfortunately, I haven't done anything to it in the last, I would say, 6 months, roughly. So, okay. We do have the audio back. We should be in good shape. Any other questions out there? Any other questions? And I will mention that I don't know what I need to do to get the clips to play and be able to just like flow easily from one thing to the other. Each time I do this, I learn a little bit more, and sometimes the functionality changes, which is not cool. So they'll have an update. It's ecamm live. It's very good. I really like using the software, and the more I use it, the better I get. However, when they push an update, sometimes things change because it used to mute and unmute when I played a clip, but in this case, it did neither. So it didn't mute me when the clip went live, and then it didn't unmute me either. A little frustrating. Okay. Let's see. There were a couple other notes that I had that I wanted to go over. One of them is kind of random, so I'll skip it. So actually a little too random, just a time filler if I needed it. And I think I could probably leave it at that for today. I would say, a couple people asked questions and I just answered in the chat. All right, so I just answered in the chat. But some people were asking, hey, I am experiencing a traffic drop. Should I make a bunch of changes to my site? Typically, my advice is to just kind of wait and see how it plays out. However, you can improve content on your site. You could always improve content on your site. You should be doing that in general anyway. If you think you know what the problem is with the Google algorithm update, you're probably wrong. And you probably are not going to be able to make any changes this week that are going to pay off next week. So if you're thinking, hey, I figured this out and I'm gonna make all these changes, there's like a 99% chance that you're wrong. I literally, in the last year and a half, I haven't heard anyone say I made these changes and then all this traffic came back. Sometimes there's a coincidence that happens, but most of the time it is like nothing happens. The worst thing is sometimes people put a ton of time into it. Maybe they work for 2 weeks and they're putting in 50 hours a week and they're making all these changes and it literally does nothing and they wasted all their time. If they're smart, they made a backup and they can revert back to what it was, but in general, they've just wasted time. Improving content, that's always a good idea. All right, people were saying thanks, so appreciate it. Gustavo, David, Bradbury, Justin, Marty, Joseph, and thanks Joseph for the AC adapter and the beer. Really appreciate it. And the funny thing is, so it's tough. people have different time periods during the day that they work better on certain things or others. Usually I'm like freshest in the morning. However, sometimes for the live streams, people seem to attend more often. More people would show up. People would stay on longer in the afternoon time slot. Additionally, I can get my very best work done writing in the morning. So I try and do that in the morning. So I push these out into the afternoon. So the kind of funny part is I'm pretty like even tempered and stuff, but I cuss a lot. So like if something little goes wrong, I'll just like, it's like 4 or 5 words. I'm just like, fuck, blah, 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 blah. Like A Christmas Story, when Ralphie accidentally tossed up all the lug nuts. Remember that? Whatever he said, that's probably what's coming out of here. So my wife's been working from home, and she just hears like little grumbles of like, everything's going fine. And then just like expletives for, 5 seconds. And then everything's fine. So anyway. All right. Okay. Manzoor has one more question. Alex, appreciate the compliment as well. Thanks everyone for showing up. We had a tight group today. So Manzoor says, you want to know what to do if your site is affected by the recent Google update. Either we should stop working on these sites or not. I'm fed up from first Amazon commission cut and then this update. Well, that sucks, Manzoor. I would say, number one, if it is a topic that you're interested in and you're into it and you enjoy the process, then you should probably keep working on it. Eventually, as long as you're trying to improve the content, you're trying to learn how to do SEO better, and you're continually moving forward, should be okay. If you don't care about the content, if you can only monetize via Amazon, if it sounds like maybe you're just getting started. Basically, this sort of thing happens all the time. A Google update happens all the time. They roll multiple core updates through the year, and the word on the street is there's little tweaks and minor updates multiple times per day. You may or may not be impacted. You may not be able to tell. So my advice is to make sure that you can diversify your revenue streams, potentially your traffic. I know some of my friends are doing really well with Pinterest traffic. In fact, I think there's going to be some interesting stuff coming out soon on Pinterest that I'll be talking about. So I would say don't stop working on it. It means, or here's the deal, like anything that you work on, there's going to be like either a long time to get started. It's going to be hard. Let's say you want to start a podcast. It's going to take a long time to get listeners, to figure out what to do and just work things out. If you're starting a YouTube channel, same deal. Even if you have a lot of things to say, even if you have an established brand, even if you have a handful of subscribers. I have a friend, Ron Stefanski, who has been on the channel multiple times. He has, I think, like 5,000 or 6,000 subscribers. And he quietly was just growing his channel, not really intentionally. He's now, go check out his channel. Go look at the 1 Hour Professor. He's putting out 3 videos per week right now. And he's getting more views and he's getting more subscribers, and he's definitely doing things more intentionally. And he's going to probably catch up with me because I'm doing exactly what I want to do. And I'm not really pandering at this point in time to the algorithm. I'll come back. I will pander to the algorithm again. Don't worry. But right now, I'm publishing long form interviews. Has anyone noticed that? I'm publishing long form interviews, and then I'm doing clips because those are things that I enjoy doing. People like the clips. I like doing the interviews, and the people that watch them, they're into them. They like that stuff. And a YouTube channel is going to be even longer to like get traction, I think. Like I mentioned earlier, you may be able to, find your little area and compare cameras to each other and all the different cameras that are constantly coming out and different brands doing more or less and competing with each other, and then different cameras within the line. And I mean, I was comparing cameras that came out 8 years ago to a camera that came out 3 years ago. Like, it's, depending on the camera, it's kind of evergreen. So the point is, whatever you end up working on, Manzoor, there's going to be some hurdle. There's going to be something that sucks, and you're going to struggle to figure it out, and you may not have an answer. So if you want to, if you think building a website is something that you want to do, then I say keep moving forward with it. Make sure you're in a niche that you can sell products from different affiliate programs, potentially have display ads going, and then you'll be fine. As long as your timeline is long enough, you'll be fine. I mean, the problem is a lot of times we approach this, or a lot of people approach this, and you think, how can I start making money in 2 months or 3 months or 6 months? How can I make actually, I get this literal question. It's like, how can I make $5,000 per month, but I only have $300 and I'm not going to invest anymore? Well, you can't do it. You can't do it. Like, you don't have enough like skin in the game. You're not willing to put in the effort or the resources or the capital or anything like that. So if you're coming at it with, I got to do this and I want to maximize profits and I want to do it in a short time frame, as short as possible, you're going to be making weird decisions and doing dumb shit the whole time. So if you approach it differently and you're like, all right, I have 3 years to work on this, that gives you a lot of flexibility. You can make smarter choices over time. All right. And Chunky says, as late as I can. It's early there in Australia. All right. Bradbury says you like Ron Stefanski. Seems like a good guy. Yeah, good guy. Pretty smart. Doing a ton of videos right now. And Jeanette says, you like the interviews. Thank you. I asked the perfect questions. Thanks again. I'm trying to expand on, how I'm asking questions and trying to make sure it flows a little better. Sometimes they're a little rough, but most of the time I try to prepare ahead of time. And Amin is on as well. So thanks, Amin. I'm just about to pack up. It looks like we have a very, low number of likes. We have 12. I didn't really ask for many, but if you enjoyed this and you could hit the thumbs up, it's much appreciated. And I think I'm going to call it a day. And I'm going to get back to work. It's almost beer 30 here, and I need to call my parents, see what's going on down in Atlanta. So have a good weekend out there, and stay tuned. Again, if anyone has experience with a Canon RP, the EOS RP, please let me know. You can leave a comment. Shoot me an email, Doug at Niche Site Project. I am curious. I am probably going to be snagging one of those because they look cool, and I've never had a full frame camera as far as the digital goes. And, I like the gear, I'll be honest, I like the gear. So have a good weekend out there. We'll see you next week.